Hey guys, it's super lovely to be with you as always. Today I wanted to talk about a theme or a topic that I get a lot of questions about, that I've encountered a bunch on my path, and that is like taking on external energy, whether that's from other people, environments, etc. I wrote a bunch of things down. So we'll just kind of see how this video goes. I think the first thing that wants to be said is no matter what's happening in your life, it's always your higher self or the universe trying to help you in some way. It's always the thing that needs to be happening for your highest evolution and growth. So whatever the difficult scenario you find yourself in, if things are really tough for you in this moment, just know that your higher self is approving of it, is signing off on it. That's one way to look at it. Because the higher aspects of you know that this difficult situation you're encountering is exactly what you need to be going through in this moment, for you to become more free in this lifetime, in this human form. So there is no mistakes. Like, there are no mistakes when it comes to our path or your path. There are no kind of accidents as it relates to your ascension journey. Everything is in perfect coherence with the one intelligence. There's a perfect symmetry happening. So when you take on something and it's not yours, the first thing to notice is, what do you feel about it? Like, what does that make you feel? A lot of times it's going to feel like a boundary invasion, right? And like, cheers to you for knowing what's yours and what's not. It's like I think I said this in a Patreon video. It's coming back through, but it's like, that's a key to having sovereignty, is knowing your energy and knowing what's not your energy. So that's a beautiful thing to even know in the first place, because for a long time we don't even know, right? But when we do take something on from the external and it feels unwanted and we don't want it to be in our energy field and we don't want to be feeling it, that might feel like a boundary invasion. And so it might bring up old feelings from the past when you had your boundaries violated, right? And so let yourself initially have the real human, authentic reaction of like, I don't want this to be here. I don't like this. Let the anger come up. It's okay to be angry. So we want to let the process be natural and organic. We don't want to skip steps and bypass emotions and feelings and energies, etc. So maybe some anger comes up about it and you don't have the perspective yet that this is a good thing and this is here to help you and serve you. And that's okay. Maybe initially it brings up kind of a victim kind of sense of consciousness or whatever. And that's perfectly fine. And so you let yourself be exactly as you are. And we don't rush to change things. But you'll notice, like, there's a natural kind of revelation that happens as you're authentic with whatever's happening in your reality right now. So if there is anger and you let it move through and you're authentic about it, it's like that kind of anger is really kind of a beautiful antidote to victim consciousness as well. So if you like kind of let the anger come up, you let the victim come up, and you let all of that pass through, you might feel a little bit more clarity about, okay, why has this happened? Or you might actually, even if there's not clarity and you don't know why, you might have some acceptance about it at least. So that's the first tip. It's like, let's not skip steps. But then we just let things move through. And one thing I've always realized, or I've always noticed, like, most of the time when I've taken on something from the external that's unwanted, that I don't want to be feeling it, usually there's some kind of resistance within myself to those same energies that I'm holding. So if I take on, like, say I take on someone's shame, or say I take on something from the external that's like terror or whatever, in a lot of cases, I've realized like, oh, I have resistance to feeling this within my own self, and that's why it's sticking to me. It's usually like if we're not in resistance to an energy or a sensation or a feeling, it usually just moves right through, or it bounces off our field, or it just kind of burns up and it doesn't touch us. I've been in many scenarios where there's been all kinds of stuff coming up in my presence, and it just bounces right off and it doesn't stick to me because I've faced those own energies within myself, right? And I've brought those energies into a state of unification within my own self. So those external energies aren't going to stick to me anymore. But I can still deal with stuff to this day. And actually, the longer you go on this path, if you do take something on, you're more immediate to get to the place of seeing it as like an opportunity of like, oh, what is this here to teach me? Because anytime something comes in and it's difficult and it's like an external energy, it's actually a guide. It's actually trying to help you see something about yourself. It might be trying to help you come more into your power. It might be helping you to integrate some repressed anger. It might be redirecting you in a way, like maybe getting big chills on that one. Maybe something comes into your energy field that's unwanted. Maybe you're assigning it from another person or from just an external environment in general. And perhaps because that's happened, you're in a difficult place. Now you have to kind of look for, how do I get through this? You're opening yourself up to receiving help. So maybe you go read about it and you have some big insight that you wouldn't have had if this thing didn't happen. Or maybe you go to you book a session with someone and that person ends up being your healer for the next 3 years. And you know what I mean? And like that relationship maybe wouldn't have been established if it wasn't for the difficulty of dealing with external darkness coming in. So it could redirect you on your path, or maybe you feel all of a sudden like, oh my God, I really need to go to this group to get help with this, and then you find a new community or something, So it's like things that initially feel like maybe they're bad and that you don't want them to be happening. Over time, you might look back and see them as something that actually was really helpful for you on your path, and kind of a blessing in disguise, if you will. So, it's important to kind of notice like things that are happening are always moving you towards your highest alignment, even if they feel in the moment like, oh, this is sinking me, this is such a burden, this is heavy, I don't want to be with this, or this shouldn't have happened. If I wouldn't have done that, then I wouldn't be feeling this, that kind of thinking, right? So even if you're kind of in that place and you're feeling scattered or ungrounded and you're just feeling overwhelmed, know like this is moving you towards a place where you're more empowered, where you're more embodied, where you have even better boundaries, where you're more fortified. And this is actually could be a catalyst for some really deep healing. So sometimes these things have to happen because they're revealing to us kind of like where we're not embodied, essentially. Because when we're fully in our body, it's really hard for things to kind of come in and stick. But if we're in a disembodied state, if we're kind of floating outside of our body, then things can kind of stick a bit easier. But because of the discomfort of things sticking to us from the external, it's like calling us back into our body. If you ever have something in your energy field that's not yours and it just feels uncomfortable and you don't like it there, you really have to be with it, right? You have to be in the body with it to kind of transmute it, to kind of dissolve it. So sometimes things from the external come into our existence and come into our life kind of as a wake-up call, like, hey, come back into your body, get grounded, come back down and in, come back into your belly, into your hips, into your pelvis, into your legs, into your feet. And so that's another thing, that how taking on unwanted external energies, that's another way it can serve us. So let me see if there's anything I haven't covered here. It's always fostering a deeper connection to our true self. It's helping us cultivate more depth, more presence. Because when we're going through that, we have to be with it. Like, you might notice maybe you're kind of going in and out of being present, maybe you're losing yourself to thoughts, but then when something like this occurs, it's like, whoa, it's like it really brings us into this now moment, because it's like in our face, right? It's in your face when you've taken on something from the external that you don't want to be with. It's like in your face, and you have to be present. It like brings you to right now. And so that's one of actually the most powerful benefits of this, is it's just cultivating more presence for you, more depth and more strength. Because when you are feeling overwhelmed by external energies, you've really got to connect to your strength in a real way. For pretty much everyone watching this, you're all very wide open and sensitive. And so that's an amazing gift, to be that open, psychic, and that intuitive, that empathic. But to balance that out, you've really got to connect to this profound sense of inner strength. And so, these can be like initiations that life will take you through to connect you to your strength, so that you can be wide open, but still feel safe in the world. We don't want to close down to have to feel safe. We want to stay wide. We want to be able to stay wide open, connected to our gifts, expanded, sensitive. It's a beautiful thing to be able to feel so much, actually, when you're really connected to your strength. It won't feel like a beautiful thing to feel so much if you're disconnected from your strength. So for perhaps many years, there will be this initiation process going on to really get you connected to your Hara, to your Buddha power, to this sense of like, yes, I feel everything, but I have the strength and I have the capacity to be with all of this. And so that's a really beautiful thing too. And so this could just be an initiation you're going through, if this is something that's happening for you. And yeah, whatever comes in, say it's like shame or terror or heaviness, it's going to help dissolve your resistance to that energy. The energy that's come in, and also that energy within you, so that you can become more enlightened and more in this unified, non-dual state where you're not in resistance to anything, where you're not in judgment to any energies or saying this is worse, this is better, and where you're not pushing things away and trying to reach for other things. You're just right here, willing to be with all of it. So this is going to dissolve a lot of that ego that chases pleasure and runs away from pain. Because that's a paradigm that will dissolve on your path over time. Because that's not freedom. You're in bondage. If you're just chasing pleasure and trying to avoid pain, that's bondage. That's separation. So sometimes things like this happen, taking on uncomfortable external energies, to get you into a state of true wholeness and freedom, and to evolve out of separation and ego consciousness. So, there's so many beautiful things that can happen. This video, I think, is long enough. I pretty much, I could talk about that. I pretty much covered it. It's going to show you where you're wounded. A lot of times the energies will enter through a wound, wherever that is, wherever you're vulnerable. And that's just life's way of like making you bring your presence to that place in your body. Maybe it's over here, maybe it's your third eye, maybe it's the throat, maybe it's the heart center, the belly, whatever. A lot of times unwanted energies enter through where we are, unfortified, through where there's a wound, through where we're disembodied, all like kind of the same thing. And so because energies entered there and we're feeling it there, we have to bring presence there, and we actually have to heal there. And so this is the universe helping us heal. I hit some almond butter and bread, and it's kind of like, a little disruptive. That's funny. But, so this occurrence, or this external energy coming in that's unwanted, it's actually forcing you to heal yourself and to be with the places within you that need your presence. So this is just life kind of mirroring to you and reflecting to you, where within you is really needing your attention, is really needing grace, is really needing love. And so all of this is just to say, like, it's not some mistake that this has happened. It's nothing to be scared of at all. And it's just part of this process of becoming a really embodied and powerful spiritual being here on earth. So I hope that this video helps you. If this content has been supporting you and you would like to offer you know, a donation. There's links for that. Joining the Patreon is another great way to support this work, and also booking sessions. So I'll leave links for those in the comments. And other than that, I'm just sending you all so much love. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.